Look at exposure correction using curves. We're going to go to the black and white cookie for our adjustment layers. And we want curves, which is going to be the third option on the top row. Sometimes curves will open up a little small and it'll look like this. Make sure you drag it out so that way you can see your input and your output. And I'm just going to show you around the curves interface. Right here, you have different channels. You have RGB, which stands for red, green, blue. And then underneath that, you have individual channels for each color. RGB combined gives you black and white. That's why it's the first one. So over here we have some pretty handy tools. I use these sometimes if I'm shooting in studio and I have color cards that I'm using. I can quickly use these as like color correction tools. But my favorite is this tool right here at the top. It doesn't have like a name, it just has like a really long sentence as its name. It's called, if you hover over, is someone hovering over it?
Yeah.
What is it called?
Click and drag an image to modify the curve.
That's the name of that tool. Okay, so you're gonna press that button and you should get a little dropper. And what you can do now is if you just hover over any area of your image, it's telling you where that value of light lands on your curve line. So say if I want to brighten Emilio's face, I know that that value is right there, and I can just place my cursor down, don't release, and I can drag upwards.
Whoa. What did
Okay. Next thing I want to show you all is the standard contrast adjustment for a curve. A standard contrast adjustment is what's called an S curve, and you're going to make an S line on the curve. So if we look at our value scale, we have our shadows here, and then our highlight over here. So that means if I want to affect my highlight, I have to plot a point at the top of my curve line. If I want to affect my shadow, I have to plot a point on the bottom of the curve line. A good rule of thumb is to never have more than 3 points plotted on your curve line. You just want highlight, midtone, shadow. So I'm going to start with my highlight. Just generically, I'm going to plot a point here because I know this is the highlight territory. So I'm just going to plot a point there and drag it upwards. And that's lifting my highlight value. And if you look at the output, right now I'm at 230. Pure white is 255. A good highlight in my printing experience is 240. This is what I also love about curves, is you can fine tune where you want that point plotted while looking at that output number by using the arrow keys on your keyboard and then just playing Pac-Man to move that point around. And now I'm going to get that to 240. Okay. So right now I have, this nice arc, but I want this to start taking on an S shape so that way I can get a nice contrast adjustment. So I'm going to plot a point down towards the bottom. And now my shadows are getting deeper. And the difference between white and black just closed, and we're getting more contrast. Problem is, we can't see Emilio's face. And Nevin's face is starting to disappear as well. So we need to adjust our midtone range. But can you all see the S shape?
It's coming out.
So that's a very, very subtle S right there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to plot a point here, and I'm going to lift that up. And then now it's still too dark, so I have to adjust my shadow. So I'm going to lift my black point. Your curve line should always be smooth. Look how smooth my line is. The way you achieve that is you keep a good distance between each plotted point. These 2 points at the ends of your curve line don't count. Don't worry about those. Those are just default points. The points that I'm talking about are the ones in the middle.
So is there like a shift button or something that I can go on to keep it like equally straight and smooth?
You just gotta play with it. Yeah. When you plot it, you can do this. You can just use your up-down keys.
Yeah.
If you are trying to do the thing where I think you can hold shift and drag. No. Oh yeah. If you hold shift and drag up and down. Like that. You know, if you use the drag and click thing, it goes up and down automatically. If you want to get rid of a point, so here I have too many points, you just grab one of them and then pull it off the curve line. I think of them as like pulling fleas off my dog, pulling dogs off my fleas. And then now we can go into our layers and check this out. Oops, I don't want that. So I have my curves, and I have my levels. And now that we've already saved it as a PSD, and PSD support layers, we can just hit Command S, and it'll update our file, and it's saved with both adjustment layers. I'm gonna have you all get up and have a look at my screen back here. Unless you all trust me about the curve situation. Do you all get it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's close this one out.